Hi everybody, Dave Lanciani here, otherwise known as Dimension X, and this video is going to be a bit of a long one. Yeah, I'm going through the whole process of how I sit here and create my music and my kind of creative process and the equipment I use and my digital audio workstation. So there's a lot going on, and you can skip ahead if you need to, but sit back, relax, watch how I make my music. That's it. Thanks for watching. Hi everyone, Dave Lanciani here, otherwise known as Dimension X, and this is the first of its kind. I am recording myself creating my music. We're going to go through the whole process of how I come up with my riffs and record it in my software and all of that stuff. So let's skip ahead to see what's going on here. I'm gonna flip to the view that shows my software, and I'll be down in the corner, and here we go. So what do we got going on here? This is my digital audio workstation. I use Reaper, and what I've got set up is a project that already has all of my instruments set, because this is basically from the last project that I did, which was called Orphica 2. And I basically resaved it as, in a new folder called Orphica 3. I've deleted all of the music information, all of the MIDI files and everything, so we're going to start fresh. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go with our bass, and we're going to start writing some riffs. So let's show you what I got going on here. If I click on the bass here, we're using the Forefront Bass plugin, which is a very basic, simple, it's free to download, and it's a very simple, I think it's a sample of a Jazzmaster bass, and that is going into a neural amp modeler software. This is also free to download. All of the basic amp profiles and IRs are mostly free. You can get them most places on the internet, or you can get them at tonehunt.org. I'm currently using the Tech21 VT profile. That's the deluxe Rage version, and that's going into an Ampeg 8x10 IR for the cabinet simulation, and it sounds like this. So very simple bass. It's a little bit distorted and very, very straightforward. So I've got that, and what we're going to do is we're going to come up with some riffs. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the bass track, and I'm going to draw a MIDI clip, and we're going to go into that clip. Now, what I do here is I actually pull up some sheet music that I created. It's basically from a website called randomsheetmusic.com, and I told it to generate some just random sheet music for me. It came up with these random notes. Since I've already used the first 4 stanzas, or whatever you call them here, we're going to go down to this one right here where you see the C and the F. So looks like we're starting off with 2 half notes, starting with a C and going to an F. So that's what we're going to do in our software. We go over here, and we're going to set it for half note, and we're going to go right to the beginning there, and that first half note is going to be a C, and it adds the C. Should be right there. And the next half note is going to be an F, right there. So what I'm going to do immediately is I'm going to make them both, give them both a velocity of 96. Did I do that? No. 96. There we go. So they're nice and loud. So, okay. So we got a couple of notes in there. First thing, we're already doing the first thing here. What we should really do is reset the tempo on this song. Currently it's on 107, and that's what the last song was, but I want this one to be different. So what I do is I basically roll dice, and you know, standard Dungeons and Dragons dice. And actually, we're going to do that online so you can see it. So we're going to pull up my browser here. We're going to get a dice roller. And here we go. We're going to get rid of this die, though. We're going to roll a d4 and a d10. So what I'm basically doing is, this is like the first number in a series of numbers, and the 10 tells me the next one. So what I do is I start with the number 5. It's kind of predetermined here. I pick a 5, and then I add my d4 here, which is a 3. So that gives me an 8. And the next number over here is the 0 out of 10. Just for the heck of it, we're going to click that again. Excuse me. We get an 8. So basically, if I have the number 5, I start with 5, and I add 3 to it. That gives me 8 and 8. So now we've got a tempo of 88. A little complicated there, but that's how I come up with that. I like random things. We're going to do a tempo of 88 beats per minute. So I type that in. There we go. 88 beats per minute. So now, here's our bass notes of the C and the F. And we go, they sound like this. Right there. However, we're going to make that a little bit longer, since what I'm working on is sort of drone, doom, ambient music. So the notes are long and dragged out. These are only a half note, so we're going to make those much longer. So I'm going to grab those 2 notes, and I'm going to basically multiply them by 4 times. So times 4 times 4, and I apply, and this is what we get. So we get a really long set of notes. So now at this tempo, here's what this sounds like. So we just basically have a C and a D repeating back and forth. I'm going to get rid of the rest of that. I'm going to glue this, and then I'm going to rename this. This is measure 16. Actually, it's measure number 17 on that piece of notation. So I'm going to call it 17, and it's a C and an F. So that way, as you can see right there, we've got the notation right there. It says C and F. It's very easy for me to see. Okay. So now I know I got a C and an F. I can visually look up there. I know I got a C and an F. And that's how we just picked our first 2 sets of notes for this. So the first part, first riff, very simple. It's 2 notes. Now we're going to make a drum pattern with this, which again is going to be very simple. I'm going to drag this up into our drums, which is up here. These drums are Monster Drums. This is another free download. It comes with a ridiculous amount of drums and drum kits. Currently, I'm actually using a Jazz Jive kit. But the drums sound really good. So, what else have I got going on? I've got a little bit of delay going on, just doing like a dotted 1/8 note delay, and I've got some reverb happening, and that's where you get your drum sound. So anyway, I just copied the bass pattern into the drums track, and we're going to change a few things here. Number 1, we're going to make these notes only a 16th note long. We're going to change them to the little diamonds there so we can see what's going on. And we're going to change them so that all the notes are basically at a very high velocity, 120 velocity, in MIDI goes between 0 and 127, so that's at 120. It's not quite as the maximum hit, but it's close. So we're going to apply that, say OK. So there we go. So now we've got two kick drums lined up with our bass, and it sounds like this. You can hear the kick drum there. You can hear it again. So it's lined up with our bass note. We're going to add a little more to this. We're going to add a crash cymbal. So we're going to copy this up. So we got a crash. And I'm going to make this a different crash. There we go. And we're going to change this, instead of another kick drum, we're going to change that to a snare drum. So there we go. So now our pattern sounds like this. Very simple. So obviously not a lot going on here, but we're not creating tech death metal here. We're creating slow, ambient, droning doom metal. So we want just long notes and a lot of space in between those notes. So that's what we got going on here. I might want to add like an accent of maybe a ride cymbal here and here. So we got a little bit going on. And then I'm going to drag this out basically 4 times right there. Going to repeat. Okay, so we got to start here. We got drums, we got bass. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add a little more to it. We're going to add a synthesizer. So let's take a look at the next part down here, which is up. I think I've got it set up with a, well, I want to use a pad. I've already called it pad X. So we're going to take a look at what we got going on. And this is the Surge XT. This is a great synthesizer. It's got all kinds of great synthesizer presets built in. It's a ridiculous amount of presets that you can just pick from. It's another free plugin. Highly recommended. A lot of people use it, and I've been using it. It's almost exclusively on this track with all kinds of different sounds. And yeah. So let's take a look at this. Let's just pick a sound. We're going to use a pad, and we're going to, this is just the basic presets. These are the factory patches. So let's kind of pick this one. It's called Communication. Let's see what it sounds like. So I'm going to drag my bass track, MIDI track. I'm going to copy it into this pad, this track. I'm going to solo it out, and let's see what it sounds like. Okay, let's go in here. That sounds kind of cool, but what I want to do is I want to drag it up an octave higher. So right now it's the notes C2 and probably F2, and we want that an octave higher. So I'm going to drag that up here. So now it's a little bit higher. And a little going on there. Okay, so when you combine, you've got a pad going. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to drag that. I'm actually going to add the 5th note. So I have a full chord here. So there's the C and the G and the F and the C right there. So now let's listen to just that synth again. Almost sounds like a Hammond organ. So that's basically going to repeat. Now let's listen to everything we got going on here. So interrupting here. One thing I'm noticing is that in this video, this is the first time I'm doing this, so please forgive me. I say the word basically a lot. Basically, I really basically say basically a lot, basically. So basically, I say that word a lot. So forgive me for saying that. Sorry. So we're going to have our drums, our bass, and our pad all at the same time. Okay, so that's what we got going on. Now, just for the heck of it, we're going to record some guitars just to kind of jump right in. What I'm using to record the guitar is, and what I'm actually using as an audio interface right now, is a Pod Express Black. I've got it. Let me pull up the presets that I'm using. I'll turn it on. And basically, here it's a Line 6 recording device. And I'm using an amp they call Dirge. What that basically is a simulation of the Sun Model T amp. You can see I've got a noise gate going on here at about minus 60 dB to help reduce noise. I've got the distortion pedal set here, and that is basically a rat pedal. And I've got a clean boost, kind of pushing that sound a little bit. We're going into the 4x12 Moon cabinet. I'm not using any modulation, and I'm using a tape delay. So basically, here's what that sounds like. Okay, and then, so let's get this out of the way. Let's go down to one of our guitar tracks so we can record. And I'm also using a Digitech Freakout pedal before the Pod Express. So that basically helps me to simulate feedback. It artificially generates feedback so that it sounds like I'm playing really loud. So if I play, it's like, let's let that sustain and ring out a little bit. Sustaining and feedback now. So I could just stand here and let the thing continue to ring out, but okay. So that's going to be my guitar sound, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on my metronome or my click so that I can have some timing going on, so that now when I play I can actually have a sense of timing and the tempo. 4, 2, 3, 4, 2, 4. Okay, so we're going to record. So here I am, there's the guitar track. I know I'm going to be just basically going back and forth between a C and an F, and we're going to record one of the guitar tracks right down here. So we get our count in from the metronome, and then I'm just going to play the C and then an F. And we're just going to let it ring out. We're doing ambient drone doom metal here. We're not doing Tech Death or Archspire. This is more Sun, whether it be Earth or Nadia, any of those really slow droning bands. So here we go. Let's hit record. We're going to stop there. And now we're going to record, that's basically a track that you can see it's GTRL, so that's guitar left. That's panned about 80% on the left side. And we're now going to record the guitar that's on the right side. So let's basically do the same thing. And we're double tracking here, which is very typical. I'm sure most of you understand what's going on. I'm recording the exact same guitar part, but it's basically panned left and right. It really thickens up the sound. So we're going to record it one more time. Here we go. Okay. All right, so there's our two tracks. Turn off my pedals here. And let's listen back real quick. Well, first thing I'm going to do to kind of cut down on noise is I'm going to go in and I'm going to adjust the fade in so that we're cutting out any extraneous noise at the front of the track. And at the back here, I'm going to trim my audio clips down about there. Save it. Always save. Save. Because you don't want to do something that you really like and realize you closed your software and you didn't save it. So, or you could have a computer crash. Anyway, so let's kind of listen back for a couple seconds. I'll turn the metronome off and we'll just play. To our F. So that sounds pretty good. The other thing I might want to do is let's bring in another, let's go to this pad right here and we'll come up with another sound. And we'll drag our pad MIDI track down to here. And then we're gonna sound for that. I like really well filled out sort of wall of sounds going on in my recordings, and we're going to pick another pad. Again, we're using the synthesizer, the Surge XT, and right now that's the let's see what kind of synth sound we have happening right now. Okay, that's kind of cool, but I used it in the last song, so I'd like to change it. I like a lot of variety in my music. So let's kind of take a look at the pads. We used ringing. That's the name of that patch. Let's go down here. Let's pick stretch, just for the heck of it. Let's see what that sounds like. Let's see what else we got. Sunday. What the heck is that? Let's find out. Okay, that's kind of cool. Let's go with that one. So now, bring everything back in. So we've got our drums, our bass, we've got two pad synthesizers happening, and we have our double-tracked guitars down here. That's kind of cool. Now what we're going to do is we're going to bring in some just extra drum fills to kind of help us out here. So we're going to do one at the end of the second set of chords here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw in a MIDI clip. I'm going to pop that open, and this is going to be another. So I'm just going to do a very basic fill here. Those don't have to all be loud as possible. We're going to drag those down a little bit, and we're going to humanize a little bit. Humanize is a function where you basically, instead of everything being perfectly quantized on the track, you can see that the notes have moved a little bit and the velocities have changed, so it's a little more realistic. So now this fill sounds like this. Okay, so now when everything is kind of played here, and when we're on our F note, let's play. So we have a little more interesting. Let's make another fill here. Kind of change this one up a bit. So I'm just basically moving the notes around a little bit so that we're hitting different drums this time. Kind of randomize them a little bit again. So now here's our fill for this one. And then we're going to make one more fill here. Here's the thing I like to do. I also have a collection of a whole bunch of MIDI files that are drum fills and drum beats and things. Let's open up and try one of those right now. Right now I'm in my, let's go to my Doom Metal Anthology. Got a bunch of fills here. Let's pick, this one's a 4x4 fill. Let's see what that sounds like. Okay, that's kind of cool. So what we're going to do is we're going to put that right there. Kind of take a look at those hits. Humanize them a little bit. Bring down some of these that are just that loud. Okay. So let's listen to what that one sounds like. Do is drag out that MIDI drum track a little bit so we get a crash at the end of that. Okay. Also, if you notice what I just did over here is I put an empty MIDI clip a ways over towards the, after this, because otherwise it might just sort of stop and get stuck there. I want it to kind of continue forward. So that you hear the echoes and the space and reverb and everything. All right, let's save that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to come up with part 2, second riff. And then we're going to use all kinds of different synthesizers for that. So let's go here and we're going to draw a new bass clip. Open that up a little bit, and we're going to take a look at our notation again. So we've already used these two notes. The next bar is, it looks like a G sharp, F sharp, D, and F. So these are eighth notes, then a quarter note, and then a half note. So we're going to go with 2 eighth notes. We're going to do a G sharp and an F sharp. So go down here and set that to eighth notes. At the beginning of the clip, I do a G sharp and an F sharp. And then, what was that? We got a quarter note of a D. Let's go here. Let me turn the bass on so we can hear it. A D. And that's quarter note. And then here, we've got a half note of an F. So let's set that for half. And hit an F. Okay. We're going to change all those to the same velocity, bring up to a 96 so it's nice and loud. Okay, and we're going to open that up again. We're going to slow it down, so we're basically multiplying the time of the notes. I'm just going to do it by 2 this time. So times 2, the length is times 2, hit OK, and here's what it sounds like. Okay, so there's that. Now I want to add a little more variety to this because these notes are kind of being given to me by random sheet music, and I want to vary it up a little bit. So let's take this, we'll copy it, paste it there, and instead of what's that note, an F, we're going to go up to an A, right? Just to try to do something different. So here's the riff. Up to the A. Okay. And let's see what that sounds like. Just for the heck of it, I'm going to play guitar along with that. What do we got again? It's a G sharp, so it's a D. And then up to the F. Okay, so let's see what that sounds like when I kind of play along. Okay, so that's basically what we're going to be recording. So, there's our measure, glue the items, and we're going to rename that. This is, I think, measure number 18 on the sheet music. And the notes are, what did I say? G sharp, F sharp, D to an F, and then G sharp, F sharp, D to an A. Okay, so that way we can see the notes, we can play along, and we turn on the metronome so we can kind of hear what's going on here. Play along. Oops, try again. I might do, instead of chords, I might just do single notes. And then maybe harmonize it. Something like that. So, let's... And then what I might do is, like, for my second guitar, we'll do like the harmony of that. So let's go. something like that. So first, let's get our drums, and we're going to do the same thing we did before. We're going to just grab that, move it up into the drum track. We're going to open up the drum track. We're going to grab all those drums, and we're going to make them all basically just to the kick drum, because we'll adjust them manually afterwards. There we go. And then we're going to change, we're going to cymbal crash, and then we're going to change up some of these drums. Okay, and then same thing down here, kind of change those up. There we go. And I'm going to open that up out to here. So now we got our drums, we got our bass, and I'm going to kind of play guitar along with it and see what we got. 3, 4. It would help if I turn the guitar on. There we go. 2, 3, 4. Okay, now I want a little more variety in there. So I've got, basically this thing repeats twice, and then I don't want to go to, what is that? That's an E. So let's E. Okay, so we're going to do an E there, E flat, and then maybe the D for 2 measures. Okay, so let's make these whole notes. I'm going to go E, E flat, and then the D. Except I'm going to stretch that out. Okay, grab all those, make them 96 velocity, so they're nice and big. Okay, and I'm going to call this E, E flat, D. Okay, and we're going to go up to the drum clip, and we're going to change those notes. Okay, let's add a little more variety in here. So there's our cymbal crash. We're gonna got a couple more kicks there, and then maybe a ride cymbal here. Okay. So we got E. Okay, so that's the next part of our song. Let's record that. We're going to record the guitars. So I'm going to go down here. Let's practice it once. now I'm going to record that. Ready? It's not too hard. So one side, I'm going to record the left side of the guitar. So let's go down here to our guitar track. I'm going to record the left part, single notes, and then the right side, I'm going to do the harmony until we come to that final E, E flat, D, then we're going to do the big chords. So here we go. Chords and the D. Sustain, a little feedback. Okay, now we're going to record the right guitar. And this one, I'm going to play the harmony. So instead of, I'm going to play a fifth up from that. Okay, here we go. Now the chords. And the D. Okay, sounds good. So, again, once we record a track, we like to kind of trim it down and kind of get rid of some of the extraneous noise. So we put a little fade in there, and then on the back side, we cut the clip down a bit. There we go. So now, let's listen to it. We'll turn the metronome off so we just hear the raw part. Ready? Now the chords. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the guitar down. Oh, by the way, the guitar I'm using is a Schecter Omen 6. Hope you can see that there. This guitar I bought back in 2008. I've switched out the pickups a couple of times. Right now these pickups are GFS power rails. They're kind of like a dime bucker, just a a cheap knockoff version of that. And yeah, it's a pretty good guitar. It's the Schecter, it's the Diamond series, so it's basically, it's kind of like the Squier version of Fender. It's the Diamond series is a lower cost version of, they're made overseas and then set up here in the States. But it's a really good, solid guitar. The pickups are nice, big, loud. And yeah, I've had this guitar for a long time. I love it. You could throw the thing through a window and it would probably still work. It's a very solid guitar. Okay, so now, next thing we're going to do is we're going to add more synthesizer parts. But we already have two other parts kind of happening, and we're going to create two new synthesizer parts. Because again, from sort of the little, I guess you'd call it the verse over here into the bridge or chorus or whatever you'd want to call it, I want to have different sounds happening. So we're going to grab our bass track and drop it down into this synthesizer track, which let's solo that out and see what this sounds like. Yeah, I'm not crazy about that. Let's find something new. How is that set up? Yeah, that's a pad. Death to Gator is what it's called. first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and I'm going to take all of those pads, those notes, and I'm going to go up an octave with them. So up 12 notes or up an octave, 12 chromatic notes. And then I'm also going to make these into chords. So I'm going to go up by 7 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So basically each chord here is a root and a fifth. And that kind of thickens them up a little bit. So let's see what this sounds like now. Yeah, see, I need something a little more with a faster attack. So let's find out where that is. That's in the pads, the theater. Let's see what in-game sounds like. Okay, I like that. We kind of have to do the same thing to those chords there. Let's go up an octave, plus 12, and the fifth. So now that sounds like. Okay, I like that. So now, as you can see, if we look down here, where's that? Here's that track. I have the pad kind of panned about 30% left. I'm going to go a little further. I want these pads a little more stereo wide. So let's make that 40%. And then what I'm going to basically do is I'm going to take that and I'm going to double it on the next pad down here. And let's see what that sounds like. So basically you've got the same thing happening, but now what I'm doing is I'm combining 2 different synth sounds to get a very thick pad going. So here's what this one sounds like on its own. Okay, I used that in my last song, but I'm going to keep that. I like it. And let's make sure the panned about the same. So pad 1 and 2 are panned about the same. Let's run the 2 together. Okay, so that sounds pretty good. So now let's take a listen to the whole thing. So we've got our drums, our bass, we've got 2 synthesizer pads, and we've got 2 tracks of guitar. So here we go. Okay, that's kind of cool. And we're going to add a drum fill right here. Let's use a preset again. Let's see what this sounds like. Okay, very simple. I like it. Yep. Okay. And then we're going to have a cymbal crash here at the end here. So now let's kind of start right from here and we'll kind of listen. I feel like we need some fills there too. So let's add a fill to here. Except I'm just going to program this one. Right here. I'm just going to do a kick. Nose up louder. Okay, so that fill is going to go. Alright, then maybe a fill here. Same thing. Just 3/4 note areas. I'm going to do a kick. Create a little flam here with a couple of toms. Okay, so that's okay. So now there's our two parts. We're gonna kind of drag these two closer together. And let's listen to that. Here we go. Okay, and that's basically it. That's how I go about creating my music, and that's it. Now, what we have are two sections here, and the next section, what I'll do is I'll go to my sheet music, and we've used this measure here, we use this measure. Now, next measure, it looks like it's just going to be like an A, a whole note of an A, and then the next measure is a whole note of an E. So we got two sections that are probably just going to be stretched out. Maybe we'll just do some synthesizers, and we'll add some plucks and some some sequenced sections here that sound kind of like a Tangerine Dream type thing. We can do anything like that. But anyway, that's my process, and hope you like what I did here, and eventually I'm going to finish off this track and get it posted up online, and we'll see what happens. But that's it for now. We'll see you next time. Thank you.